Are we live? Oh my gosh, you guys, are we live? I feel like I'm dreaming. Look at you, Bianca, starting it off already. Oh my goodness. You guys have no idea how much I have missed you guys. Oh my gosh. I was like, I'm going to need, hi, Carol. Hi, Christina, Bianca. Hi, Liv. Hi, Pumpkin. You guys have no idea how much I'm like, okay, I need YouTube though. Like, if I can do nothing else, I just need my YouTube because I need to be able to talk to you guys at least every other day because it's therapeutic for me. And I'm like, I need these people. So, hey, Moto Man, good to see you. So yeah, definitely, even if I have to step away for some weird reason again, it will never ever be this long because I need you guys. So maybe like 2 days max. That's it. I'm going to need a doctor's note to be here all the time. Okay. So, hi Pokey. Hi guys. Oh my gosh, I missed you guys so much. So, I feel like I've missed a lot actually because I'm going to be completely honest that I have not been watching anybody's content at all, which is not what I normally do. I have been digging a different angle for like 2 weeks and I got super deep dark into a rabbit hole, and yeah, I'll have to throw some things together on it cuz it's pretty interesting and it's something that I haven't seen anybody else talk about yet, but it is a little bit interesting. So, let me not look like I just rolled out of bed. Sorry guys. So yeah, everything is fine. Bronx is fine. Everything's good now. Grandma update. I don't have a good update for that. She is still with us, but it's not good. So that update is not okay, but it will be fine. Everything will be fine. So I just have missed you guys so much and I just wanted to chit chat and talk. But no, I do have stuff I want to talk about for real. But so everything is alleged and our opinion only. And luckily for us, actually, first I'm going to say I'm not going to put the chat on the screen just yet. I figured since I've been gone for a while that we wouldn't have as many people as usual. If it goes back to what we usually have, then I'll just put the chat on the screen. But for now, I'm going to leave it off. So luckily today, Patricia, a delicate lady with a delicate life. That's so cute. No, yeah, so Bronx is a grandma, believe it or not. No, I'm just kidding. No, Bronx had well, you guys know he had his surgery and that didn't go as good, but it's all fine now. But yeah, I'm just good. I'm so glad to see you guys. So, luckily today, I did have something else I wanted to do. I'll talk a little bit about one thing, excuse me, but I do want to go over this new interview that dropped today with Brian Entin and Alivea, and we'll talk about some other stuff as well. I have to tell you guys that like I said, I haven't really watched anybody's content, so I don't really know a whole lot that's been going on. I've like looked at the documents and stuff that have been unsealed and the little stuff like that, but as far as other people's content and knowing what's going on their end and what they're digging into and stuff, I haven't. So on Saturday I was like, well, let me just see what if I've missed something like super huge. So you guys know, because I'm sure all of you follow Birdie, right? So the first thing that pops up is Birdie's like little snippet he does the next day where he says, and the title was like, you guys, I've been lying. I think Brian has been guilty this whole time. And I was like, what? Like, I missed that? Are you kidding me? Not Birdie. Birdie can't switch over to the dark side. So of course, then I click on it and I'm like, all right, now I need words with Birdie. So if Birdie pops in here, let him know that I'm going to have to cuss him out for scaring me like that, thinking that he switched sides on us while I was gone. Unacceptable behavior. No, I'm just kidding. But congratulations to Birdie for his new addition to his family coming up. So that's really exciting. How have you guys been? Anything new with you guys? Anything super big that I missed that you guys want to talk about first? I know, clickbait. And I'm like, I want to tell him, like, don't start clickbaiting us, because honestly, that got me. If I had been looking at the content this whole time, I would have probably known it was just a joke. But because I had been gone and that was the first thing I saw, I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So of course I click on it. Clickbait got me. Oh my gosh, I missed you guys too. How are you, Carol? Pokey. I know baby Birdie is going to be the cutest little Idaho 4 live streaming baby ever. Hello, that on point Rican. Yep. You know it. I'm starting to think that there's that it's more work related for him in there. Like that's starting to make a lot more sense to me now, especially with everything else. Oh, Christina, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I know I missed you guys so much. This will, I promise you, never happen again because mentally I can't handle it. I need you guys. You guys keep me sane. Oh my gosh. No clear evidence. Which is wild because, like I just said, another interview just dropped with Alivea again. So everybody's still like working on it and digging, and I think some of the things she says are interesting, which I'm going to talk about because we've got opinions over here. But it's just wild that we've got a closed case that they say was so strong evidence against him, not only a closed case, but from a plea deal. But everybody's still, she's still meeting with prosecutors. I've never heard of this. It's just wild. Still with the lack of evidence, if you actually take the time to dig. So, or just read, I guess. You don't even have to dig. You just have to read it, which is wild to me how we still have so many people that are like, oh, he did it. Yep, he did it. Okay. Oh, yes, Christina, I was going to mention something about that. It's kind of scary. Actually, we'll just start playing it and then we'll chit chat obviously while I'm playing it, but afterwards as well. And then I have another point of something else and then we'll just keep going from there. So let me share this if I even freaking remember how to do this. Just kidding, I do. I think. Let's add it to the stage. Okay, let's make it bigger. Hi guys. Yay. Okay, so we're just going to start it. As you know, I always have to stop it for, you guys know, YouTube stuffs.
I think a lot of people want to know how you're doing. A lot of people haven't really heard from you since right after the sentencing and your just really impactful victim impact statement, which it's almost been 3 months now. So I just wanted to start off asking sort of like how you're doing.
Yeah, it's always good to see you too. I think it's hard every single year when the seasons start changing and it starts getting colder. It's like your body remembers. So the seasons changing is hard. Then the daylight savings is really, really hard.
Sorry, I won't try and pause it like so many times, but you're absolutely right. The question is, did the knife sheath ever exist other than the fact that the police went and bought the same one? I will never understand why we cannot get a picture of the knife sheath bagged and tagged. Why? We don't need the picture actually in the room. I'm fine with that at this point. Like, I'd love to see it, obviously, the proof of it actually being there and not, either way, it could have been planted anyways, but still, why can't we get a bagged and tagged knife sheath? I don't understand. What does that have to do with any one of the victims or anything? Hey, Jeff H, good to see you. And you're always disagreeing comments. I love it. You keep me alive, I promise. Yeah, it's a good interview. I just have a lot of questions and stuff. I do want to say a prayer for anybody who is struggling with not being able to understand when to let go of Ozempic. So not hating, just there needs to be maybe some Ozempic rehab over here. Not me, but you know what I mean. So yeah, the thing is she looks like that, and it's not meaning to be a hateful comment. It's the fact that she's choosing to look like that and do that to herself, and that's sad, I think. So
and then kind of inching up to that date. And it was just a really, really heavy year and kind of took a lot emotionally from us because it was a lot of preparatory work to get to trial, just for it to go to plea deal so quickly. And then everything after that happened, so fast. So there's a little bit of a whiplash aspect. And then just a lot of, almost the come down from this, emotional hardening I almost had to do to kind of prepare myself for trial.
I agree with you, Jeff. Actually, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall as well. But I think both of ours will probably be different reasons why. And my reason why is because I do think, in a sense, she is questioning some things. I think that there is something about this that's not sitting well with her. We all know that she thinks he is obviously the one who did it, but I do think that she has some underlying questions, and that's why she's still continuing to try and get information out of the prosecution. Obviously, if she felt that they did it all right, I feel like she wouldn't be pushing so hard to still have sit downs after, a plea deal and a sentencing, and it's pretty much done and over with for them. I get it on the emotional side for her and her family as, family victim, but I would love to be a fly on the wall there too. I want to know, just like her body language and the way she maybe asked the questions with the prosecution or with Bill Thompson, I guess, to see if like how much she is questioning.
But overall, we're doing okay. We've taken some next steps. Kaylee and Maddie are in their forever earns now, which was a huge step that we hadn't been able to do before. And we're finally able to kind of try to get some of those answers that we've been craving and put together, this picture, this story in our minds, and hopefully, be able to make some sense of what happened, because we were locked out of that information for so long.
I think
Yeah,
so
and
too.
I had dinner with your parents the other night when I was in Idaho, and they mentioned to me, oh, Alivea is going to meet with the prosecutor.
1 second. So I just saw a comment that said, oh, Bridget. Hi, Bridget. Look, excuse me. Bridget said, Olivia's half-sister Samantha said that Kaylee and Alivea were being mean girls to her. My question is, since I haven't been on in about 2 weeks or so, has anybody else heard anything else from Samantha? I was actually going to reach out to her and see if maybe we could get her to come on some way, somehow. I think that would be a really interesting conversation to have specifically with her. Has there been any new posts from her or information from Samantha in the last 2 weeks or so? Just since I haven't been checking. Don't be, oh, really? And just hangs out with the G family? Like, why can I picture that though? But for what? Like a case that's done and over with that he has nothing to do with. He's just a reporter. Moto Man, thank you so much, Moto Man. Moto says, imagine having these questions after saying what she said to BK after his appeal. I couldn't handle the guilt. Yeah, we will definitely be talking. I'm going to make points on her points because I say pretty much the opposite things that she says, but with her own words. You can literally just spin it right on its head and make it make sense. It's like they're trying to make it fit. They know it doesn't fit. And it's clear in some of the way that she says things, in my opinion.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And they were like, yeah, she's going by herself. I'm like, she's going by herself. Like, that's so intense. So I know you flew to Idaho. I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, so that was October 6th. And
I love you, Liv.
I love my parents, but I am an adult too. And it's difficult for me to kind of be a grieving sister in the room with them because I let their grief overshadow mine.
Sorry to keep stopping it. I just see a comment that says, Jen says, Brian had 13 separate complaints that were made against him at WSU Pullman. It's extremely serious, actually. And while I do understand where you are coming from, I have put some thought into that. And it's not that I'm always constantly trying to play devil's advocate, but we also need to look at some other things that were said specifically in WSU or in Pullman, specifically from the chief over there, who lied about remembering interviewing Brian and those emails that went back and forth, and how then he pretended like he did remember Brian and had all these things to say about him on his media tour. Like, how can we trust that these complaints were actual complaints from when they happened and not just something that is made up? And I don't want to say made up because I don't want to diminish if it is true, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's not turned a little bit in a sense to fit their narrative, how do we know that those are true? How do we know that somebody didn't just say, oh, he looked at me funny and it made me uncomfortable, and then turned into, oh, he tried to block me and then he did this. We don't know that. And that's the problem with this case because of the lack of transparency. So I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying that it is okay to disagree, but I just question so much of the validity of some of these reports that are coming out, especially because I figured we would have heard about them before had that been true in the beginning, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But thank you for the comment. I mean, I appreciate it. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. As long as you're respectful, you're more than welcome to be here. Absolutely.
Right, they're grieving parents. They lost a daughter.
Enter the Spedience Gym Monster,
My bad.
an all-in-one home gym
We'll get it
solution
together,
that
guys, I
aims to
promise.
I hope to God I never know what that feels
Thanks,
like.
Bianca.
But sometimes it makes it difficult for me to find a place in the room. So it was important for me to be able to, kind of be able to dictate and to get answers that, I'm really looking for, not help my dad or help my mom or play this like weird median that I would often play in these prosecutor meetings. So I met with members of the prosecution team and a member of the Moscow Police Department who was an investigator, as well as the Idaho State Police, an investigator from the Idaho State Police.
Does anybody know who the Moscow investigator was? Or wannabe investigator? I don't know. I don't know the exact people. This interview is new too, so I don't know the exact people she's
And
talking
so
about
you
yet.
just went by yourself?
Yeah, sorry, I'm shaking. I went by myself. I had my attorney there. She's a local LATAW attorney and who was just kind of helping me with the documents as they're coming out to be able to make sure that we all get those. But yeah, it was a really traumatizing meeting.
I could imagine it would be. I'm not saying that I don't feel the emotion for her of what her and her family went through. I get that. My question is, why now? Why is she pushing now to be sitting down with the prosecution? And also, I know she seems very self-sufficient and independent and opinionated. Why by herself? That's what kind of makes me get the idea that she has more questions, that she's questioning, was it him or was it him alone? Or, you know what I mean? That's why now, I guess. Especially when they were so upset that the prosecution supposedly didn't even come to them regarding the plea deal. So I'm not sure at this point, since if you view it from her point or her family's point, they think the prosecution got it right. So why are you pushing and spending time and hiring lawyers and going in and sitting down and getting this and that and everything else when you think the investigation was perfectly correct and you got the result you basically wanted? So why are you questioning so much? That's what makes me think the opposite, that she might not think that he is guilty or guilty alone.
But it was a necessary step for me to be able to basically be hurt behind closed doors so that I could manage my expectations going forward. I'm not sure if I totally answered you there. I'm sorry.
No, you did. So is it just, I'm just trying to I guess visualize it. Do you just go into like a conference
Right.
room and it's you and then Bill Thompson and Idaho State Police just all sitting there basically?
Yeah. So it was a conference room at the Idaho State Police District 2 quarters in Lewiston, Idaho. I drove down early in the morning from my parents' house in Rathdrum, Idaho. And
I don't know why she just said where her parents live. That's silly. But no, you're right. I agree with you. It's textbook autism. The things that I believe was being described in these complaints against him, a lot of it. Hey, Outcast, it's so good to see you. I'm going to have to catch your live later. I don't often stay up that late, but I have missed you guys so much. And now that I'm back, I am tuning in, my friend. Thank you so, so much. But thank you so much, Outcast. I appreciate you. Look at you. Aw, I miss you guys. Aw. Hi, Shelly. Shelly with the good hair. So yeah, I agree. It is textbook autism? And why did these other people, it seems to me that some of them were like silly things almost, like the way he would said, they said that he stared at them, or maybe he was too close, like in their bubble when they were trying to walk out the door. Like that is textbook autism. So why couldn't they just be adults and say, hey, that kind of makes me feel uncomfortable? He probably wouldn't have even had a clue what they were talking about had that been the case. But you know how it goes. If he, is Ashley Banfield still on his thumbs up selfie trip that she does? Like, my gosh, any little thing, he could breathe funny and it would be, oh my gosh, he's a psychopath. He did this, he stalked, and we'll talk about that because she's going to touch on it.
And there's, me on one side of the table and them on the other. And I really wanted it to be an open-ended conversation where the investigators were kind of able to provide me how it kind of unfolded for them, because I've never really gotten their opinions. I've never really heard their thoughts on it. I've never, really humanized them in a way to understand what it looked like for them, because this was their life day in and day out for, 7 weeks. And then after, it was nice to hear.
If you've ever wanted to know
Let's
what
see
a
if I can
successful
actually
dropshipping
speed this
store
up,
looks like,
it's a little slow
then this video is
for my
for
brain.
you.
That real human aspect of them, and kind of what it looked like from the inside out, because I had only had the perspective of being on the outside.
Were you able to get any of your questions answered?
Yeah. A lot of the questions that I had were answered. Doesn't mean that more won't come up as more comes out, but I was very satisfied at the end of the meeting with, I mean, as satisfied as you can be.
What possibly could the prosecution, look how I stopped on her face, my bad. What possibly could she have talked to the prosecution about now that she got answers from? What? Because we have the documents. It's almost like when she speaks, she forgets the information that we all have. And that's a little bit annoying. And I'm hoping his next question is, what were the questions that you asked? Because I would love to know what questions she asked. I want to know what she is, not feeling 100% positive on regarding Brian Koberger.
We're not talking about, a recipe here. At the end of the day, it's still murder, and it's still the death of, my sister. So there's not really positivity there. And I don't even want to say that there's closure, but I do think that it helped me immensely to be able to have these pieces put together for me to help me make sense and understand what happened in my head.
We should make a documentary.
Were they able to tell you any more about, I guess like one of the questions I've always just still had.
Seriously, one more just quick small prayer for the overuse of Ozempic. Also, do we know the side effects of Ozempic at all? I'm just curious if, delusion might be one of them. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to be rude or hateful. You know that she bothers a lot of us. Yeah.
And still think about is like motive and why those kids, why that house. Like, were there any, I don't want to say theories, but did they have any more insight into that?
So not necessarily, and maybe it's because the why has never kept me up at night. I've never cared about the why. So that wasn't really something that I pushed them for. I will say, when you look at
she couldn't put emphasis or any energy or effort into the why. She couldn't do that because there never was a why. Not in the Brian Koberger aspect. Had it been anybody else, maybe. But the fact that you have somebody who probably didn't do this and was just a patsy, you're never going to get the why. So that's why she can't focus on the why, obviously.
Test data and the 23 different occasions that he was at the house, they don't all line up with just one person.
Hold on. She just said in the 23 different occasions he was at the house. That is a flat out lie. That's a flat out lie. She is literally going on the internet, getting millions of views, not telling the truth. And that's frustrating because I'm pretty sure the prosecutor that she sat down and just talked to and had those interviews with and got the answers she was looking for was the same prosecutor who said there is no evidence of stalking. He did not ever hit on the tower that serviced the home ever. So the 23 times of doing what? She also, I think, seems to forget that we have his receipts. Remember? We have his Target receipts, we have his Walmart receipts, and he was going to Target in Moscow about every other day or so ish for months. So I'm sure those 23 times that she's talking about were actually Target trips. I know we've discussed this before, but it's bothersome when she seems that everybody else has forgotten that, or like we don't have actual receipts to prove where he went when he went to Moscow. Moscow's a small town. You've got what, 2 towers to hit off of, 3 towers, and that's it. And the fact he didn't hit off the one that serviced their home when he went there, what is she talking about 23 times? Let's remember, there was no evidence of stalking. None.
So it's not like he was only ever there when, Kaylee was. They're very random and they're very sporadic, which to me made more sense because I was always confused when they said someone was targeted, then maybe the house was targeted, then no, someone was targeted. And it almost made more sense to me knowing this, thinking maybe it really was the location.
Right, Ms. Shanti?
Right. Maybe it really was more of a non-specific that became a specific because we know that he went directly to the 3rd floor. But maybe it was more so just, a vantage point looking out, inside from the outfit.
Okay, if there's one AI site builder you need to meet, it's this dope tech from Wix.
She said, because we know he went directly to the 3rd floor. How? She said she knows he went direct. How? What evidence? What did they tell you? What evidence did you find? Because nobody has been able to put that together yet. That we haven't gotten what order the deaths came in. And according to the eyewitness, that was their strongest eyewitness, Kaylee was in the living room dancing with Murphy. So how did he come in and go up to the 3rd floor with nobody seeing them when he would have had to walk directly by them? That doesn't make sense. It's like, I know she probably wants it to be a certain way to soothe her soul and have closure, but it's not factual. It's not truthful. If that helps her, that's fine. Like whatever, but it's just not factual. And she's on the internet forgetting that people have facts and receipts.
He found particularly interesting or something. But again, that why it's never bothered me. For me, I've always known that the why would never make sense.
So what were you hoping to get out of the meeting, I guess? Like, was there something specific?
Yeah, so there was a couple things. I wanted to take a look at the complete surveillance footage that was put together that showed his movements from a little after 3 a.m. to 4:20, 4:30, and that's extremely comprehensive when you see that as a full picture of.
Sorry. Jeff says, when Dylan talks about Kaylee dancing with Murphy, how long before 4 a.m. was that? I don't know if we have like an exact time. I just figured it was obviously some point before the DoorDasher thing came, right? That's what I'm picturing because Dylan kept saying 4 a.m., 4 a.m. So I'm thinking before the DoorDasher, but it could be after. I don't know. The thing is we should be able to know that because if they would have taken the victims' phones, we would have been able to see Kaylee's steps. When she went up those stairs, you would see the steps going up the stairs, obviously. I don't know if they record downhill or not, but I know her going up the stairs, it would have been recorded. It would have told us what time. I'm like just baffled the lack of the investigation of this entire case and not even taking the victims' phones like that and digging into stuff like that to know exactly. These days, it's almost 2026. And with technology, there is absolutely no reason that we can't have those small details. They're there. You just have to get them. So as far as time, Jeff, I'm not exactly sure. Do you happen to know? Or do you have an idea of what you think the time, like maybe the exact time it was or close to? Yeah, exactly, Mashanti. And then we still don't know anything really about the DoorDash. Why? I feel like that would be so simple. Why can't you put out the picture of, when they set the food down and take the picture? Give us that. Like, honestly, I'd be pleased with that. Give us something. Something. Yeah, it could be 2:30. For some reason I was just thinking after that because of the other events. But it could have been even before Murphy supposedly went missing, which would have been even before that, right? Or around 2:30 maybe, which then would change the timeline of everything because according to Dylan, after the dancing, immediately following the dancing, it was okay, I'm going to bed, up the stairs with Murphy, bark, bark, bark. Oh my God, somebody's here, run down the stairs. You know what I'm saying? So then the whole timeline would have been changed if it was around 2:30. I do agree with you on that, Jeff. I think that it probably was Xana because it just common sense. How would Kaylee have gotten back upstairs then? So yeah, I do agree with that as far as it being maybe Xana.
The car being here, then here, then here, tracking those movements. I wanted to see the past report and these 23 different occasions. When did they start? When did they stop? Are we talking about, he was outside for 4 minutes, or are we talking about he was outside for 4 hours? And then something that really, really was something that was difficult for me to process was the thought of the crime scene photos leaking. So we know that there is a leak somewhere. I think it's still currently being investigated. And
to me, that is the funniest statement. She says, I think the leak is still being investigated. So obviously we all know the leak, right? And now that we can look at it, to me, it shows there was leaking going on way before the actual leak, right? Like there was a lot of leaking going on before we actually even knew about any leaks. So you're trying to tell me that within this court system, they are still, however many months now later that it has been, if not year or more later that it's been from these leaks, and they're still investigating it. They're so good at investigating and so good at doing investigations that they cannot even figure out who leaked information. How about everybody hand over your phones? Anybody who was on this case and had the information, hand over your phones. We're going to take it to the barn dummies at Cellbrite, and we're going to poll to see if you were the one who leaked it. It'll take a week. We'll grab 40 people's phones. It'll take a week. I mean, am I like, am I thinking wrong? How simple would that be? So that's actually a mouthful for her to say, because if you can't even investigate a leak of information that to me seems so simple to figure out, you want us to believe that you correctly investigated a quad hom and landed on one person, however many, within what days, and not necessarily days, but you know what I'm saying? It was a short amount of time for them to hear Brian Koberger's name. Still, from wherever that came from, we don't know. But you can't investigate a leak of information properly or well enough, and you want us to believe that you could investigate a quadruple homicide well enough? Stop it. Stop it right now. You are not fooling anybody, at least not over here.
I basically left it up to them, and I told them, if you're confident that these photos
for sure
are safe,
redirection.
I don't need to see anything. But if you think that there's a chance that they will leak, let me hurt myself with them right here, right now, so that I can, continue to function. Because it's really, really difficult for me, particularly, to live and maneuver in a world when I know that there's information out there that could hurt me that I just don't have access to. So those were my 3 main pieces of information that I was wanting to look at.
That's a good point. Dandelion, that's a cute name. Oh, look at your kitty. That's so cute. Dandelion says, I think the perps ordered DoorDash on their phone. Police said Xana's pink phone was by Ethan, and that Xana actually supposedly had Ethan's phone, but that the DoorDash was, and most of this is just rumor because they won't give us fact. And it's hard to separate them now that we all know so much. We've all been looking into this forever. So we actually, to this day, don't even know if Xana actually ordered the food. Just her name being on the bag and all of that, it just seems weird. That's not how we get food like that here and stuff like DoorDash or whatever. Just the timing of the DoorDash, everything. And I feel like that would be a perfect way to gain entry into somebody's house. I mean, why would somebody yell that somebody's here if they were expecting food? That does, and supposedly they would have known that, right? Because they were all hanging out talking, remember? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I agree, Andalion, in this case, especially, anything is possible. And that could have been the way to gain entry. And the fact that they won't even give us proof that Xana placed an order, that Ethan placed an order, that it was delivered, that anything, it's sus. Like everything else.
So what did they say to you when you said, if you think there's a chance that these photos would leak, I want to see them? Like, what did they say?
I don't think that with certainty they could say that they wouldn't leak. So ultimately I did wind up viewing one photo of the scene of Maddie's bedroom. Maddie was completely redacted. They offered more, but I truly didn't need to see more than the one.
I haven't been to the grocery store in months because this delivery service offers hundreds of high-quality, non-GMO.
Sorry. So Moto says, considering the DoorDasher was with a person that was into human trafficking, which is crazy because I know that I think a lot more lately. Hi, Skalamachai or Kai. Skalamakai Chai. I always forget. Sorry, I always butcher your name. But hi, it's good to see you. So I know Birdie has been talking quite a bit more about the trafficking aspect. And I actually have some crazy stories back a decade ago when I was in jail, and women in there that aren't even part or close to that area at all. I was told stories about trafficking up towards that area. This was a decade ago from people that were doing it willingly, right? They were selling themselves or whatever. One of them was actually in there because she was a madam for trafficking, and that's where they were going. I have like personal proof stories of this. So he's on the right track with that. And so Moto, yes, you are also on the right track with that. I do think there's something to do with that. And then, Kaylee being into true crime and whatever, but the whole trafficking angle that people have been digging into lately, I actually have a couple stories that would tie into that, and it's real life, and I don't live anywhere near there. So that's how much trafficking is probably going on in that direction. Sad to say, but you're right. I agree.
Yeah. And it was ultimately Bill Thompson who provided that piece of saying that he couldn't guarantee that they wouldn't leak because he's not sure exactly who from the defense's side had access to them. So if he was the only one and his team, he would have been very, very confident that they'd never get out. But that unknown
And
made
it's
him hesitant
real.
to, have the confidence that they wouldn't, leak eventually. Not that I think he's saying that they will leak. I think just in an overabundance of caution, especially considering I was there in that moment, ready, had prepared myself to see this. So yeah.
I guess I'm just keep thinking about you like alone there. I'm so used to seeing you with your family. But I know there's certain things, I mean, I can't relate to this in any way. Like I can't even imagine, but there are like certain things in life I feel like you just want to do alone. Like,
I'm sorry. Is it too fast? Do you want me to slow it down? Fashion a shank out of a toothbrush. You want to hear my tales from the slammer? Oh man. I do have to say, although not the place anyone wants to be, but I made the best of it that I could, and it was not the worst thing I've ever been through with the people that were in there. It was kind of fun, and the stories are insane. But there is facts to the trafficking thing, and I do have actual factual stories on that, which would be kind of interesting to talk about. I thought maybe I'd reach out to Birdie, or if he pops in here, I would let him know, like, hey, since he's been doing the whole trafficking aspect quite a bit, it seems like more recently, like, I'll come on and tell you some stories that would be interesting. And it definitely ties into that whole highway and that area. So yeah. Oh, I got stories up the wazoo for you. Trust me.
that you need to process alone just as like a single human being? You know what I mean? Like, was it like that kind of a thing?
Yeah, and I mean, my mom and dad won't even look at the photos that the city of Moscow released, months ago. That batch of 180.
I am so sorry. I forgot to tell you guys from the beginning, this audio is awful. This is not my audio. This is from Brian Entin's audio. And I noticed earlier when I was trying to listen to it on my phone, the audio was horrific. I'm so sorry. It's not me, but the audio is really bad on this episode or interview.
Too. So we are just very, very different in that aspect, where I kind of play this role with my mom mainly, where I can take the information and I can process it, and then she gets to come to me and just kind of pick what she wants to hear about. And so in that capacity, I guess I kind of need to have that information to be able to help, my mom or my sisters or my, brother or anything if they ever need it. Like, my understanding of the full picture as completely as I could make it. And I guess that I'd rather be the one that is hurt by it, so that I can, spare them from that while still being like a source of.
Thank you, Jolie. I will check that out. And it's the way you're making it sound is that they are fairly interesting. So tonight I will dig into that and look up all the stuff. And if I can fit in about 45 minutes tomorrow after work, we can definitely talk about that. If not, obviously, it's going to be Wednesday. I'm not stepping away anytime soon for any reason, or probably ever again. Like I said, I missed you guys too much, but I can dig into it tonight. And obviously I'll make a post about noon tomorrow if I am able to go live tomorrow night to talk about it, because that's what I've wanted. And that's very interesting to me. So I definitely want us to go over that for sure. Thank you for letting me know, because I wouldn't have known. I appreciate y'all all the time.
Truth about it. I'm never going to lead them astray or, but just be able to give specific details that they want to hear about, and nothing more, nothing less.
What was it like with Bill Thompson? Just because I know, you've obviously been frustrated with the prosecution in the past, and we're not pleased with the way things sort of ended with the, with the plea deal. What was it like, sitting at a table with him?
I have no bad blood with Bill Thompson. I do truly think that he did his best. And I think in his heart, he thought what he was doing was the most good for the most amount of people who were affected by this. I think he knew.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is...
Sorry. Okay. So then was she not part of the rest of her family completely? Remember after the plea, and even little Steve got on the mic and was like bashing the prosecution. So has she completely changed her mind and is like cool with Bill Thompson now? Because remember how awful of a job he did. Now she's saying, well, he did the best that he could. No, he didn't. He went for a plea deal. He probably had it planned the whole time. They had dang near nothing on the guy. So how now is she so okay with the outcome and what Bill Thompson is telling her? I can't imagine there's much more of anything he could provide to her, because they don't have more of anything information-wise to provide to her, or facts or proof of anything so what did she get from him? Why can't Brian Entin just ask that question? Like, what did you get? What was it? What was said? Tell us the information, because I don't understand. Had this gone to trial, Brian Koberger would have freaking walked. That is how little of evidence they had. But now she's suddenly getting answers of what? From where? About what? Stop. I don't believe
it would hurt us to take a plea deal, but I think that he deemed that a necessary evil in order to provide good for a lot of people were affected by this. We can't just think about the families of the 4. We're also talking about, witnesses. We're also talking about, court staff, jurors. We're changing jurors' lives by having to show them this information.
Thank you,
So
Scala.
I truly think that he did what he thought was best. It wasn't good enough for us, but I'm not really sure that anything would have ever been good enough for us without getting him back. So he was fairly quiet, but it wasn't awkward or anything. I think that he has eventually come around to terms to kind of respect that, we might just kind of be abrasive, but we're not heartless, we're not mean. And, I wasn't there to pick a fight by any means.
So when you left, like, what did that feel like?
So initially it felt, I felt a little bit of relief, I think just because it was done and it had kind of been something that I had, once again, mentally prepared for, right? And then you get to the other side of it and now, it's done and it's over and you're excited to move on to, the next, okay? Forward movement, but fairly quickly, after this one in the next, day or two, you're really just hit with the weight and the gravity. And you're left with, me personally, I was left with more questions that I know don't have answers. Like, for example, why? And not why in the motive sense, but what were you even thinking? And I know that sounds so small, but there again, very specific questions that I know don't have answers. And, I'm kind of sitting here 10 days later, still greatly struggling with, the full weight of what Kaylee, just Kaylee, I didn't see anyone else, but just Kaylee had to go through.
Understandable that she has those emotions, right? That's her sister. I get it. We're not void of emotions over here, but that's not what we do on this channel, right? We want the facts. We're digging in. We're not just, it's not an emotional attachment for us over here. So we're able to compartmentalize and put them in different places in our brains. And I want to touch on not the emotional side of it. So I get what she's coming from. I'm not trying to be rude towards her and her valid emotions of losing her sister in a horrific way. I just want to put that out there first. But what the heck could she have possibly gone in there expecting to get from Bill Thompson? Because her own father has been saying for the past 3 years how much information they have on him and how they got him on day one and how and blah and did and that, and then come to find out at the end, basically none of that was true. They had pretty much nothing. They had the car, which isn't, or I mean, I'm not saying it's not the car. I'm just saying it could possibly not be the car. And that strange DNA swab in a random spot that you just happen to get lucky to swab a random spot and get one fleck of DNA. What possibly could she get more from Bill Thompson to where she is tracking him down, getting lawyers to sit down with him? What more could he give her is what I'm not understanding. And what did she get from it? I'm not understanding.
Yeah, and I think just from what I know of you, you're just always searching for answers. You don't really give up. You're just you keep going. You know what I mean? Your dad is like that too. So maybe finding out that you're never going to get certain answers, I would imagine that must have been hard,
Yeah, it's definitely hard. Especially when I am a very answer-based person, right? I have this question, 99% of the time I can get the answer. It might take some work, but I can get there.
Absolutely.
It's difficult knowing that there's a lot of really painful.
I agree with you 100%. I think they told the whole G family to sit down and shut the heck up, because I think the G's in the beginning, when he was trying to be his whole alpha, whatever, I got his point in the direction he was going to, but it would have not landed in the same, it wouldn't have followed the same narrative. And that's why I think they were telling them to be quiet. But at this point, now they're not going to give her the truth. So what does she waste? What does she think she's going to get out of sitting down with Bill Thompson? I agree with you though, 100%.
Unknowns, and you either have to let them go, which I'm never going to do, or you have to keep digging for more information until my brain can process, or create an inference to be able to answer those questions for me.
Yeah. Would you, I mean, a lot of the questions, I think, you know, the killer is the only one who knows. Like, would you ever want information from him?
Not in like the way of like, you know, a book, or not in the way of like him doing like, you know, a news interview or anything like that. So I guess the answer then is no, because he doesn't really have many other options. I will.
So let me get this right. She just said no, she wouldn't want the answers from him. And why? Because he doesn't have them. That's why. And I think she knows that. Like, I think that she is really questioning. And I think that's why she's spending so much time and effort trying to get in contact with Bill Thompson and have sit downs and get more information. And wouldn't it be absolutely wild if, like, 2 years from now, Miss Alivea Gonçalves gets up on the internet and is like, I don't think Brian Koberger did this. Wouldn't that be so wild? Da, da, da. Yeah, I don't know what she's trying to get from it. Apparently, they had all the information. So her saying that she wouldn't want the answers from her sister's unaliver is like, well, the only reason in my mind that you wouldn't want the answers is because you know you can't get them, at least from that person, you can't get them. She knows that.
Continue to go back to, I think that a full confession should have been included as an agreement or a condition of the plea agreement. And that is something that in this case,
it doesn't make sense in this case because it doesn't fit. They're force-fitting puzzle pieces in puzzles that don't fit those pieces. Those pieces go to a different puzzle and they're trying to force fit it. And that's why nothing makes sense. Nothing adds up. Nothing makes sense. They are forcing it to fit. And it even came out of one of the ISP officer's mouth after the sentencing. Do you guys remember when he said, we wanted it to fit so bad, but it just didn't. And it was something along the lines of like stalking or even timing on maybe his phone stuff. It was something like that. When the officer specifically said, we wanted it to fit so bad, but we couldn't. They couldn't even force fit it. And that's why nothing makes sense, because it doesn't fit.
this could have happened, and I believe should have happened, but it's just one of those that we have to let go. We can't go back. So yeah, I think a lot of those answers would have been great, but I don't think that the juice is worth the squeeze.
Yeah. And I know there was a gag order.
She doesn't think the juice is worth the squeeze. She doesn't think that confronting her sister's unaliver that was in an absolute horrific way, and her very own sister's last moments of life, she doesn't think the juice is worth the squeeze. Just remember that her sister said that. Because it would be for me.
But it also makes me wonder, like, if you could have had this sort of relationship with the prosecutor and the police.
Oh, and I wanted to comment on this comment. Tanel says, but it's making me wonder if the plan is to sweep it all under the carpet and move on, leaving Brian to rot. And I agree with it in a sense. I agree with the fact that people want people to move on, but they want them to move on only thinking Brian Koberger is guilty. They don't want people to move on thinking that there's unanswered questions and the real perpetrators out there somewhere. They don't want that. They just want people to leave it alone and everybody be guilters, right? But we know that's not going to happen, because we're not going to sit here and be fed lies by mainstream media every day. Like, we have our brains and they work, and we dig and read. So we know that that's not true. My question is, and the reason I wanted to comment on your comment is because, is Brian Koberger rotting in jail, or is there something deeper behind this? Like I always say with Birdie's study thing, is he in there working? Is that the other angle of that still? Is Brian Koberger in there just rotting, or is he working in there? You know, that whole aspect. I don't know. I mean, it's possible. Just because in this case, I don't put anything past anything. It was all three: stalking, incel theory, and motive. Wait, Moto, you think that Brian Koberger was stalking and incel? I'm confused. Sorry. Or maybe I read it wrong. Yeah, if he's in there, right?
Earlier on in these
I'm
kinds of
losing it.
conversations,
Sorry.
would you have understood each other better, you know,
Oh,
before all
absolutely.
this came to an end? You know, would
Good
it
night,
probably have been nice to
Moto.
have that during?
Thank you for joining.
Yeah,
We missed
absolutely.
you.
And I think that in, you know, those last 8-9 months leading up to trial,
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. Yep.
I
Which
think we
is
were getting
wild.
there, finally.
Actually, because at the end of the day, let's say he wasn't incel, who cares? Like, I get their logic on it in a sense because they're grasping at straws for a motive, and the incel thing was the only thing that they could come up with, but then his own phone proved that wrong. So yeah, no, okay, I got what you're saying. I appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, I thought you were leaving. I'm sorry. Welcome. You're welcome to stay. Sorry, guys.
But yeah, it's difficult when the conversation's always the same, and it's always us frustrated with the lack of information, us trying to make sense of it, them sticking to the gag order, you know, getting frustrated that we're still pushing it, that, you know, we're still asking these questions, and you know, the material is inherently frustrating, right? But so it takes a while to get to a point where, you know, I understand Bill Thompson a little bit more, you know, and maybe he understands me a little bit more. It would have been great if from the beginning there wasn't the gag order, or there was.
Or she just said, I understand Bill Thompson a little bit more because, you know, I sat down with him and he bullshitted you and you bought it. That's probably what happened. Not so much that you understand anything because there's nothing else to understand. He played you like a fiddle and you bought it, ma'am.
Some way
Ozempic
that we could have
brain.
had more information or candid conversation throughout with them, but
Hi, Hot Pie. Have a good night. Thank you for being
you know,
here.
that's just not how this cookie crumbled for us, you know.
Yeah. Something else I was thinking about, because I don't think I've talked to you since this stuff came out, you know, with Washington State University, like there were all these, you know, public reports that are out now of women who were afraid of Brian Koberger. You know, people who worked with him at the university, like other, you know, doctoral
Sure
students,
did.
that kind of thing. And I'd talked to like a couple of people before, and I talked to some people in Pennsylvania, women who had stories about him, but I guess I didn't realize how widespread it was until all of those reports were released. Like I had no idea that it was so many women. Did that come as a surprise to you too?
Yeah. It didn't come as a surprise to me necessarily that he wasn't well liked or that he did not integrate well, but it came as a surprise to me to hear that there were so many formal complaints. Because for me, my next question when I see that is, damn, and how many informal complaints were there, right? You know, how many.
Oh, so yeah, sorry, I'm leaving Pumpkin's comment up there because Pumpkin says the G's always speak codes and hints, like they know something we don't, but we already know it's not true. But look at this one. She keeps going. So yes, you guys already know what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to this over and over and over, and I'm going to dig and dig, and I'm going to find all the inconsistencies, and then tomorrow I'm going to upload a video on it and drag her on every comment and how it doesn't make sense and how we have receipts that prove otherwise. You guys know I'm going to do that, right? So, but the fact that she just said she's not surprised that there were complaints on him, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I believe these complaints. I think that why would those complaints not have come out at an earlier time? It would have helped in the case, right? Against him. Why wouldn't they have had those earlier? And that would have definitely been something we would have heard about for sure. So do I believe that these complaints are real? No, not really. I don't know. But for her to say that she's surprised that there was complaints, why would you be surprised if you thought this person was stalking your sister and unalived her horrifically? Why? I don't. Okay. All right.
Women or men, you know, it seems like specifically more geared towards women, just had a bad experience and just didn't report it, you know, because that happens way more often than an actual formal report. So it's actually insane that his behavior was so comically bad that he couldn't even get through a month of trying to pretend to be.
Sorry. Sorry. What the heck? What is going on? Oh.
Like a normal human being without being wildly inappropriate and offensive, and literally just giving the vibe like how many people in those documents said that he would spatially trap them. That's not a normal behavior.
No, that's not a normal behavior. That's an autism behavior. That is literally spatial issues. That's like autism 101. Like, ugh.
How many people, what was the term that they used when they would say he would like basically held them hostage in a conversation? Like these aren't normal behaviors. And like he couldn't even fake it for a month. What a joke, dude.
How do you hold somebody hostage in a conversation? I mean, why couldn't the person just be like, gotta go, bye, not comfortable, see you later, quit talking to me? How do you hold somebody hostage in a conversation? Listen, you guys, I'm holding you guys, all of you tonight, hostage in conversation. It's going to be about 24-hour live stream.
Dude, like, yikes.
Well, I was just thinking about too, like the women who thought they saw him outside their like apartments and stuff. I mean, like that's really scary.
Right, where it's like, and it sucks because this is a little weird, but like the law is so written that there's not much proactively that you can do. Everything is reactive, right? So those people could have gone to the police and said, I think that, defendant or, inmate 163214 was outside my apartment last night. And I guarantee you, nothing would have happened to him. Even if they had investigated him, even if they had questioned him, nothing.
Did she memorize his inmate number?
Would have happened to him because it's not illegal to stand outside someone's house, right? Like, so it's just so awful that the laws are written, especially around stalking, and especially around, creepy behavior, that they're so reactive instead of being proactive.
Okay, but in this case, you can't be proactive about it when you have no proof, no documentation. Just because she says it doesn't mean it's true. There was no evidence of stalking. It would have been on his phone. Those times that he went to Moscow, he was going to Target, he was going to Walmart, he was going to the coffee shop, he was going to freaking Costco. Like, you know what I mean? There's no proof of it. And that's why you can't be proactive on something that you literally have zero proof on. They could have, had he been doing that, we would have known about it. We would have seen it from his cell phone, I'm sure the who is it? The Barnharts would have loved to give the public any bad information on Brian Koberger. They would have found it, and they would have said he did all this stuff because his phone showed that he did it. And they didn't say that. So that didn't happen. That's why you can't be proactive on it, because it's not happening. Well, not with him. It could be somebody else, but it's not him.
Yeah, just insane to me that it takes something physical happening before, honestly, even a formal police report can never even be made.
Yeah, and all those reports that came out, did they give you, when you had your meeting, did they give you any indication, like, is there a lot more to come, or is it sort of like, most of everything's been released at this point, or do you sort of have to be on guard for more?
Yeah, I think that there's still quite a bit more. So I know from the city of Moscow that they said it's going to be months before everything comes out. I mean, at the pace that the courts are going, it's going to be years. I guess we're sitting 3 months out, and we've gotten 17 documents. So that's a very, very slow snail pace there. We haven't really seen anything out of Pennsylvania. We haven't seen anything out of the FBI. So I know that there's still more. I don't know how substantial that more is going to be or not.
Build a website you love with Wix.
Yes, Carol.
For your words,
I could not agree
with
with you more that going to Target like every other day and buying like food, that is so sus, right? Like, who would do that? Only a serial unaliver stalker would go to Target to get groceries. So just keep that in mind next time you go to Target. Just remind yourself that you are a psychotic serial unaliver at Target getting groceries, because that is just awful. Who does that? Who goes to Target? Like, come on. You should just turn yourself in after going to Target, right? That's like, Jesus, come on. It's Target. It's Target. And she forgets that we have his receipts, so we know every day and every time he went there too.
Think about, you mentioned like stuff slowly coming out and the judges unsealing documents too. And some of the more recent ones were like the witness lists for the defense and the prosecution. And there's a bunch of headlines about this. People have written about it, but Ryan Koberger's sister was on the prosecution list. I mean, did that surprise you? Do you know did they say anything about that? Like what she may have been, I don't know why that was.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Somewhere along the line, I asked about it, and this was before the gag order was even lifted, and I didn't ask for specifics, but they didn't give me her name at the time. Just that it was in regards to one of the sisters having knowledge or having seen him with the weapon itself.
Bullshit. I call bullshit. You want to know why I think Amanda Koberger was on the prosecution list? I think it was their strategy. I think the reason everybody's freaking out about this, and I don't know why anybody hasn't said this yet, Amanda Koberger was on the prosecution witness list as strategy. The whole court system is literally just strategy and game, playing with people's lives. So here's what I think. The defense had Bethany on their list, right? Because she had exculpatory evidence or whatever. So what I think is the prosecution was like, okay, we can play this game. I'm going to call one of his family members to make him look like the family member is on our side, right? So it's not so much what she had to say, I don't think. I think it was just a jury seeing the family member on the prosecution list rather than the defense list, like a strategy, like a mind game, right? Rather than her actually having any information. That's what I think that was. I think that is bullcrap. I think it was a game. I think it was strategy to play a mind game on the jurors, and that's it. That's what I think.
Because the knife that he bought on, his parents' Amazon account. So that doesn't really surprise me, especially because I didn't really see anywhere that the defense was trying to argue that he didn't own the knife, that he didn't purchase it. They tried to say that his click history should be included because getting off track, I apologize.
No.
But it didn't really surprise me seeing her on that list.
Yeah, I did think about that too, Lisa, like a character assassination type of thing as well. Yeah, but I think a lot of it was I think the prosecution, had this gone to trial, they would have had to play some really strategic mind games to fool the jury, to make things look a certain way. And although, yes, it could have been about a stolen phone 20 years ago when he was on drugs or rugs, my bad. But I do honestly think it was more just of a strategy for them to look like his own sister is going to testify against him type of reaction from the jury to make them question his character for both the phone thing and his sister just being on the prosecution side.
Yeah, I guess it didn't surprise me either. I wondered if they were going to use, her to say like, oh, because I think they shared an Amazon account. So like maybe to narrow down, like, you're not the one who ordered these things, to kind of like
Exactly,
process of
Carol.
elimination kind of thing. But I'm not really sure.
Exactly, Carol. The prosecution needed strategy because that was the only thing they would have had, because they can bring up the DNA. That's fine, which I think in most cases would look terrible, right? But once the defense, which I hope they would have done, I hope Anne and her team would have gotten up there and actually gave the numbers on the DNA and how much DNA and how it couldn't have possibly been a primary transfer, where they decided to swab it. Why would you swab it there? You can't even see it. Why would you choose to do all of that? Their whole game had to have been strategy, because you are absolutely right. That's all they would have had. That's all they would have had. They would have had to reach great lengths with their strategy to bring it down to make it look like it was something that it wasn't, obviously.
And I mean, I'll also even say too, I'm not even sure that was entirely needed, because when he purchased the knife, what he actually did is on his debit card, he purchased a gift card, I think for $120. He immediately turned around, added the gift card to his parents' Amazon account. He bought the K-bar knife with the sheath, the sharpener, and a bunch of vegan supplements. At the time that he was arrested, when they seized his car, the same exact vegan supplements that he purchased on Amazon with the gift card in the exact same order as the K-bar knife were in the trunk of his car.
Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. You can't just keep saying things and not proving it.
Wouldn't it be in the documents? Why can't we get a picture bagged and tagged of the knife sheath? Show us the receipt. Prove it. Stop saying all this stuff without a receipt.
So yes, well, it's stronger to have an eyewitness.
So what? He in his car, because remember his car was, what was the word that Bill Thompson used? Spartan, I think is what it was. His car was Spartan clean. Even in the cubby, there was nothing in it. So they found what? A toddler's plastic shovel that like 2-year-olds use, right? A plastic shovel and vegan vitamins. Like that doesn't prove anything to me at all.
Says I saw him physically hold it, and I'm not saying that's what she would have testified to, but while I get that that's stronger, I don't even think it was needed.
Unlike leading competitive models,
and to be quite frank, I don't care if he did order a knife. I don't care if he did order a K-bar, a sheath, a sharpener. I don't care about all of that. It's about, first of all, proving it. Second of all, it was 10 months before he even moved out there. I mean, like, was he really premeditating that far in advance I would think if that was true, there would be way more DNA on it. It just doesn't make sense. Plus, how many people, especially in that area, and him being a hiker, knowing where he's going, would have maybe wanted something like that? I don't care if he did purchase the K-bar. That doesn't tell me that that was the one used or that it was by him. It doesn't tell me that at all.
Here's my last thing, and this might still be too fresh to talk about, but I just, like, I always think, I started thinking about it when you gave your victim impact statement. And just with all getting to know your parents and, feeling like I know Kaylee in a way just through you guys and all of the videos and photos. Like, I just always want, I don't know, I see such, you've already made such a difference in the world.
Bridget, I swear to God, you read my mind. Olivia seems like she's just more disappointed that Hollywood hasn't given her a call yet. Oh my God, I love it. That is so funny.
And I just wonder, have you thought more about like how you want Kaylee's legacy to live on? What part you'll play in that? Like, and I know that takes time, but I didn't know if there was something in particular that you were sort of thinking about at this point.
Oh, wrong button.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I got about 1,000 ideas. But my mom and I have some awesome women behind us. And they've really been kind of rallying around us, trying to help us sort through a lot of these thoughts. And something that is really, really important to both me and my mom is that, I apologize. Kaylee would have done a lot of really, really good things in the world. And that's just a fact. And she would have provided a lot more light to this world than she ever took. So the way I see it is there's an imbalance of the scales because she didn't get to give that light in the way that I know she would have. So my mom and I have kind of thought about creating something where we can give back specifically right now to the community that helped raise Kaylee, right? Helped make her who she was in a way to kind of restore that balance of light, right? There will never be a replacement for Kaylee. And anything we ever do will pale in comparison to what she is capable of. But I think we got to try, I think that we got to try to kind of right that injustice that happened, not to us necessarily, but to the world who would have experienced, what she had to give to it. And in a way of, just kind of getting up and doing our best. So we're still really sorting through those details there. Sorry. And I'm excited to get there, but I'm also really excited at the prospect of having the time to do it and be really, really thoughtful about it. And then for me, something that's I need to do for me, and I've been doing it for a while now, is basically put forth everything, all of the documentation, all of the photos, anyone who will ever talk to me, everything, in a central database. And that is where, for me, Kaylee gets to live, right? Like that is me collecting all of these pieces of this part of her story in one place and bringing her home. And
I just have to say, I'm sure she is very upset. I'm sure her emotions are real. I'm not disregarding the fact that she lost a sister. Yes, her family is the victim of a violent crime and it's awful. But what we're here to do is more dig into the investigation and the actual facts and the truth. And we want to know who did it, like the truth. So I'm not discounting her feelings by any means, but I agree with this comment that I hate when people idolize the deceased and almost worship them. And the reason I agree with that comment is because I always say, when I go, please don't put in my obituary that like I was this great, nice person. And like, no, I'm just a real person. Like I have an attitude sometimes. Like, so I get what you're saying, but it's kind of like a running joke between me and my mom. We always say that, like, don't lie in my obituary and say I was a great person, please. But I get it. I mean, she's
something that's
still emotional and stuff with
it's
her
probably going to
sister.
take me a
But
really, really long time.
it just seems to me, I would feel like with that much emotion behind it, and obviously physically you can tell she's struggling. I mean, she's like ODing on Ozempic at this point. But wouldn't you want the truth though? So if she thinks Brian Kohlberger did this and he's now spending 4 life sentences plus 10 years in prison, what is she out here searching for then? Like, to me, it just says she doesn't believe it either.
But I'm okay with that because I know at the end when I sit back, this will be, almost like an encyclopedia of sorts that just has, all of the answers and all of the pieces and hopefully enough pieces to the point where, it all comes together and it all makes sense in my head one day.
You mean in terms of the murders?
Yeah, in terms of, understanding what was the beginning of the end,
Oh no, 1114 cat. I'm not saying that you said anything wrong by any means at all. Like, I'm just saying that I don't want to, me specifically, be on here just like sounding like a victim basher, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I do understand what she went through is real and is probably very difficult for her. I just don't have those same feelings that she's feeling because it's not my family. I have compassion and empathy for her and her family and all the other victims' families and loved ones. But at the end of the day, our goal over here is not to have emotion tied to it. It's to get the answers and the truth and the facts. So no, I wasn't saying you said anything wrong at all. I was actually just agreeing with you, but just explaining that it's not that we're not compassionate. I'm sure you are also a compassionate person. It's just we want the truth. And this word salad interviews with everybody after a plea deal, after all of, and now you want to get answers. I mean, wouldn't you think that was what the trial was for? So like they all messed that up for themselves.
In terms of understanding the gravity and the weight of what happened, because you can't shy away from it, right? We shy away from it and we sugarcoat it and we take the bits and pieces of it that are digestible and we feed them to the public. But no one actually understands how sick this guy is.
We don't all need to be compassionate. It's okay.
And it's not my job to shy away from it because Kaylee had to live it. The least I can do is be able to understand it for her, to be able to be, an Earthside person that, can grasp and understand, what she went through and what she endured.
So you want to get the story, of what really happened, basically, and get it all kind of in one place.
Everything.
So the bits and pieces that we kind of have,
Imagine being able to.
Well, how convenient. How convenient that now she wants to get the real story. That's what she just said. She wants the real story, while a man who now you think that could not be the real story is rotting in jail for 4 consecutive life sentences plus 10 years. How convenient. Now you don't think, you just want the real story. I thought you had the real story. Isn't that what you told everybody? Isn't this man, remember her victim impact statement? That wasn't a victim impact statement. That was a audition for whatever movie in court that day. I thought I thought she had the answers, right? So now that he's now that you guys have bullied him so much and threatened his family to the point where he stopped participating in his own defense and pled out to something that I truly don't think he did, now you want the answers? Well, okay.
to build an app with your name on it just by thinking about it.
Unbelievable.
Meet Base 44.
Yeah, and I'm also really passionate about this because there's still to this day so many conspiracies online. It's disgusting, right? And if I'm just being frank with you as my friend, I'm so sick of it. Like, I'm so sick of it, I could puke. So
I'm so sick of people being put in prison for the rest of their lives for crimes that they don't commit, or even getting the DP for crimes that they don't commit. That's disgusting to me. So I feel your pain, just the exact opposite, right? Like, it goes both ways, Alivea. It goes both ways. People are going to talk whether you like it or not. But she's upset that people have conspiracy theories. Are they conspiracies? Or are we just so close to the truth that she can't handle it anymore?
for me to be able to put myself in a position where
I've thought about writing to him. I'm just it takes me forever to like actually say what I'm trying to say, and I would write like 400 letters and then it would take me like 10 years. But I mean, I've thought of it. I do have to say I did reach out to his family. So I haven't checked yet to see if I have any response or anything, but I did reach out to his family. I did not reach out to him though, particularly. I've thought about it. I don't know. I might think about it. I could. I mean, what would it hurt? Yeah, I might do that. We can see what we can get from that, right? That might be fun. Good thought, Carol. That's why I need you in my life. So,
you know, maybe I don't share, hey, how this is how wrong you are, XYZ, you know, but to have that, you know, be armed with that knowledge of here's why this doesn't work. Think. Nope, you're wrong here. Nope, you're wrong here. I think it'd be so valuable. And if I could ever get to a point where, you know, I could create something that's almost like a timepiece capsule collection where 10 years, 20 years, 30 years down the line, people are going to want to know what happened, right? Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't have lived through this. Let me be the first source that tells them what happened to my sisters so that they're not going to 4chan or to Reddit or to TikTok and, you know, say, oh my gosh, did you ever hear about the tunnels? Oh my God, did you hear it was a cover-up? It was a frame job? Like, it feels so wrong to have so many of those things exist and be free for consumption and so widely consumed.
She just keeps contradicting herself. Just what, 30 sentences ago, she had the answers from Bill Thompson after this sit down, right? She just said she got most of her answers that she wanted. She still had a couple more, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't want the conspiracies out there, but she's questioning it herself. Like, it's like she's all over the board for me. She's saying, I want people to have the true story, but I thought you said you had the true story. I thought what the prosecution was telling everybody, their bull crap. I thought you thought that was the true story. So which is it? Which is it? This is almost over. And then I just want to talk about one more thing after that. And then I'll take Bronx'S to the park.
I can't even really articulate how it makes you feel being on the other side of it. Like, but one day, if I could ever get there, it's the key to all this, if I could ever get anywhere.
Exactly, Pamela.
Yeah, being able to, you know, be the source of truth, you know, the Encyclopedia Brown on everything from A to Z. And if you stick along with me and, you know, you hold hands with me, maybe at the end you can understand too. Yeah.
I just think for some of those people with the conspiracy theories, like, and I've seen it with other cases, I mean, it's like it's almost like a hobby. Like, I don't think, no matter what anybody said, I mean, Brian Koberger confessed. Like, I mean, the man confessed and pled guilty.
Well, they say
I mean, what more could you?
No, the MF, he did not confess. What case are they talking about? Are they just changing this in their head and forgetting that there is like the World Wide Web, like internet with facts? When did Brian Koberger confess? Isn't that the whole issue with this case, is because he didn't and because they didn't ask him to? They just blindly wanted him to plea out so they could get a W on the prosecution side on this case? When did he confess? Are they delusional? What is going on? Brian, do not start taking Ozempic. Your mind is already frayed. What the heck? Fizzy, right, Fizzy? Am I right? Please tell me I'm right. I just want somebody to tell me I'm right once in my life. No, I'm just kidding. But for real, no, he didn't confess. What is going on? I literally stepped away for 2 weeks and now they're just making shit up. again, like we didn't need you to make up more stuff, okay?
Yet I don't think there's anything anyone can say to these people. I really don't.
Right.
To these people, which is us, which is fine.
I'll talk to anyone. I'll argue with anyone.
But there can't possibly be 100,000 people that think this person or more that think this person didn't do this to the point where it's topic of conversation day after day after day, year after year after year, because we don't have enough evidence to even, he would never have been found guilty. So they're calling us weird. But I think it's weird that these people think it's okay to lock somebody up and throw away the key for something that they possibly didn't do. And there's not even enough evidence to prove it. And then bully him and threaten him and his family into a plea deal. And then say that he confessed when he didn't.
I will listen to anyone. But my sticking point is I need 3 facts that we can agree on, right? Like if we can't agree on 3 facts, we have no grounds for this conversation. Because if you believe that everything is a cover up and he was framed and this and that, and oh, well, the DNA wasn't this. If we can't agree on just one single, for me, 3 single sources of truth, then I don't know how to tell you this, but you're a lost cause. Like, I don't know how to tell you this.
No, baby girl, you're a lost cause. Because all you need to do is look at the exact number. It was what? 0.197 NGs of DNA that was found in a random swab of the knife sheath on the inside of the female clasp. Like, first of all, who touches that area? Second of all, why would you think to even swab that area? That's the only swab you took for that type of DNA. And that number is less than the amount of what you would get from a secondary transfer of DNA. So he didn't touch it. Obviously, there's not enough DNA to prove that he touched it. Matter of fact, it's less than that of a secondary transfer amount of DNA. So, honey, you can't just say DNA is DNA every day of the week and twice on Sundays, because the amount of DNA freaking matters. It matters a whole hell of a lot. And it matters so much that I personally think if somebody could explain that to the jury to where they could understand that the study they did at UC Davis, if somebody could explain that to the jury, I even think would be like, yeah, that's not enough for him to have even touched it himself. So, honey, the amount matters. So you can call us cuckoo, but baby, do some reading, educate. I'm not saying she's dumb. I think she's an fairly intelligent person, right? But the amount of DNA absolutely matters in cases.
Like,
especially
I'm sorry, I know it's mean, but like that's genuinely how I feel.
I know. I wish you just didn't have to see that stuff, though. I know it's impossible, but it's like it makes me sad that you have to see it. Like I wish you just.
I've been tuning into you.
And here's like
I had to take a couple days off or a week or 2 off, but yeah, I always watch you. I love your channel, so thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Definitely appreciate it.
Have to see it, right? No one's forcing me on social media. No one's forcing me to read these articles or anything like that. But I've kind of gotten to a point where personally,
Pamela says, did she say it was proven BK bought the Amazon card? I don't necessarily know if she said it was factually proven, like she could show us a receipt and all of that, but she did say that she knows he bought a gift card and then went under his parents' account under that gift card and bought whatever, which is honestly not covering up anything. You're under your parents' account and you're getting it mailed to your house. So I don't know, why is it the fact that he couldn't have just gotten a gift card for Amazon for a birthday or a congrats on moving to across the country for your new gig or whatever, and bought something that he wanted since he's a freaking hiker? Why? She makes it sound like it's a cover up, and I don't necessarily think it has to be a cover up, but we also don't know that it's factual and actually happened either, because they won't just prove simple things.
Like, I'm just done being quiet about it. Like, I think that silence in some cases can be a form of complicity, and I don't want to fall into that category. So it's a really hard balance to find, where it's like, are you salvageable? Like, are you a salvageable conspiracy theorist who just has genuine questions? Because a lot of it is confusing, and a lot of the answers have been weird little trickle downs. And no one's kind of stood up behind the mic to take accountability and to say, no, here, let me help explain this, right? So I get some of those questions.
So, Miss Alivea, I just want to point out that you talk about conspiracy theories as if they're like a mutt breed of people that are crap to this world, which is pretty judgmental. So she thinks just because somebody has a different opinion as her, that they are an unsalvageable person. Just let that sit with you, right? Like, ma'am, take a seat. Take several.
But then, I mean, you really do just
Very
run into some
judgmental.
loonies. That's the truth.
Yeah, they're out there. They're trust me, I know. So, well, I appreciate you, Alivea. You're an inspiration to a lot of people, me included. So, thank you for all you do, and you know, I know people will be looking to you to see what you do next and how they can help, and how they can help Kaylee's name, live on through good, like you said. So just keep us posted.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I gotta take her off because she drives me nuts. So yeah, she thinks conspiracy theorists that can think outside the box and form their own opinions by reading factual documents, court factual documents, and coming to their own conclusion rather than being persuaded or led or brainwashed by mainstream media or Judge Hippler or the prosecution or anybody else in this case or in the world. She thinks those are unsalvageable people. No, I'm kind of like that. I can think for myself, just like every one of you here. So, bye, girl. I don't want to talk to her anymore. Okay, so one more thing I wanted to point out. This is nothing new. Let's see. How would you feel about doing Idaho 4 live together sometime soon? Would love to pick your brain in here. Oh, I would love that. Absolutely. You let me know the day and the time. I work on Monday through Friday until 5. I'm in Central Time. So yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I never shut up. So just bear with me. But yeah, absolutely. I'm totally down. Anytime. Just let me know. My email should be in the description box if you want to just shoot me an email, and then I'll check it either later today or tomorrow and we can figure something out for sure. Absolutely. I would be totally down. There was one thing else that I wanted to touch on, and I have to scroll all the way back and get the link that I think Miss Bianca sent, but let me grab it and see if it is the correct link. Can I copy? How do I copy it? Because I can't just click on it. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Well, I guess I don't need to show the link, so I'll just talk about it. I just wanted to give you a visual, but I think most of you will know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please let me know right away so I can explain it better. So, do you guys remember not that long ago, just a couple weeks ago, a body cam came out, and it was of another college student, same age, around the same time, in which she said she had just gotten back from visiting family or vacation or whatever, and somebody had broken into her car, removed her suitcase, messed with her underwear and her sunglasses, and she called the police. And at one point, Ashley Banfield was trying to connect Brian Koberger to that little incident of somebody breaking into this girl's car and removing her suitcase. There was body cam on it. Do you guys remember this? It didn't come out super long ago, just probably within the month or so, I would say. My thing is, if you do remember, yes, Neighbor at 1221. Thank you so much, Latitude. Yes, that one. Okay, so I just want to touch on it briefly because nobody has said this, and it came to my mind the very first thing, and I thought three things really of it. Okay, so she says, the victim in this case says that there was a footprint on her front seat. Think of the act that happened, right? Somebody broke in her car, messed with her suitcase, pulled it out of her car, messed with her clothes, her underwear, whatever, sunglasses. What male they at one point were trying to make it sound like Brian Koberger could have possibly been visiting at that time, and it could have been him. What male do you know either cleans their car out or does anything by getting in their car by stepping on the seat. Usually men, especially if you're thinking Brian Koberger, who's 6 foot or better, 6 foot-ish, wouldn't even fit in the car if he had to put his foot on the front seat. So to me, that sounds like a female did that, because if I was going to clean my car, I'd be stepping on the seats and stuff because I'm small enough to do that. But a tall grown man is probably not going to get into anybody's car by putting their foot on the front seat to get in there. Yeah, she also said she had ordered a ring. Yep. Yeah. So I personally think that even though they're trying to pin even little things like that on Brian Koberger is commonsensically so stupid. Like, the only way for me that could have been a male doing that is if it was the other neighbor who said prior to this in October, that a male had broken into their house, came into her room, stood over her with a black mask, black clothes, and a knife standing over her bed. And remember, she kicked him in the stomach and it made him run away. But that guy was shorter. That guy was 5'5". So I'm starting to think that there are more connections to this neighbor guy that is 5'5", because maybe a guy who is 5'5" and trying to enter somebody's car would step on the front seat because they're short enough to do that. But somebody who's 6 foot or better, they wouldn't even be able to get in the car that way if they're putting their feet on the front seat to get in first. You know what I mean? I'm thinking there is more to this neighbor guy that broke into this girl's house. But of course, we don't even know if it actually was the neighbor because there was no investigation on that incident, which happened just literally a month before the Idaho 4 happened. It's so wild to me. But I did just want to point that out because nobody else did. And my first thought was no guy, especially 6 foot, is going to put their foot on the front seat to get into a vehicle. Like, they would get stuck or just not even be able to enter. I don't think that crime of breaking into her car, even though it was unlocked, I don't think that was done by a male. I think that was a female. And I know that there have been so many questions regarding some of the wounds to the victims in the Idaho 4, if maybe there was a female involved. And I think there had even been talks that there was unidentified female DNA there as well. Also with the I'm here to help, some people think that that was directed towards a female that was maybe a lookout or part of the crime or whatever as well. So I just wanted to touch on that. I know we've all seen that. I just wanted to say nobody has said no guy is stepping on a front seat of a vehicle to get in. I'm just letting you know that. So I think it was a female. I think there are more females involved in this stuff than they want to lead on to or even look into. Of course, they're not going to, especially at this point. But other than that, that's really what I wanted to point out about that, because I know so many, little panty sniffers, little weirdos. I think that there are just so many people that were trying to tie Brian Koberger to even that, even though he was in Pennsylvania at the time. Like, they're just doing too much to make this fit. They're trying to make it fit so bad that they sound ridiculous. So yeah, that is it. But I've been on for an hour and 40 minutes. I owe you guys about 34 hours straight of live streams, but Bronx'S going to go to the park. So I just want to thank everybody for being here and sticking it out with me and coming back. I was so happy when I finally came back and I saw that we lost some people, obviously, but that's okay because the ones that matter are here. And I appreciate all of you guys for staying here with me. It more than likely will never happen again because I can't not speak to you guys. So, good point. Could have been Molly needing her methicals. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah. Thanks, Bianca. Go ahead and check out Outcast, especially he should be live later too, anyways, but check him out. Thank you everybody for all the super stickers and the gifteds and Christina and Moto, Outcast, Sculla, Moto, Bianca. I appreciate all you guys so much. We will be like I said earlier, we will be live for sure Wednesday. But if we get that information I was talking about earlier, I will go ahead and do a quick live tomorrow night after work, same time, 5:30. So I will either see you tomorrow or Wednesday. As you guys know, do something nice for yourself today. Be kind, but more importantly, be kind to your animals, please. Thank you so much for being here. I have missed you guys so much, and this will never happen again because I cannot live without you. You guys are the best. I appreciate all of you. Please have a safe evening. Bye-bye.